Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of What's on the Menu, Nate. Well, tonight's menu, we got a side dish, which is going to be garlic bread. Now, we're not going to use any of that store-bought garlic bread. We'll be making garlic bread from scratch. Now, something simple that you can use is you can actually make garlic bread at home without having to use store-bought garlic bread. Now, what you will need is you'll need a oven pan, which in this case, this actually has holes all on the bottom, which is one type, which will actually help the heat actually carry through the bottom to actually help the bottom get done as well. Next, you'll need a thing of tin foil. Put that on the pan. And make sure it covers the top of the pan. Now you don't need to put any on the bottom because we're going to need to help the heat get through, so we can heat up the tin foil. Next, you will need bread. Now you can use any type of bread that you got laying around your house. You can use, which in this case we're going to be using buns, hamburger buns. Now you can also use hot dog buns, or you can also use regular sliced bread. But before you even use regular sliced bread, I would recommend that you toast the bread before you put it on, because you'll need to butter both sides. Which in this case for the buns, and you won't need to butter both sides because you only need to butter one side. Which in my case, I only butter one side of the hamburger buns and hot dog buns. But if you have regular sliced bread, then you have to butter both sides. But I would recommend that you toast regular bread before you put it in the oven, because if you were to put it in there all with the butter on it, then as the butter is starting to soak into the bread, it'll get soggy and such. Because I've had that happen whenever I first started cooking a few times and all that. So it's better to toast the bread first before you just butter it and put it in the oven. Now first, before we butter them, what you'll need to do is use butter spray, which unfortunately we don't have any butter cooking spray. I just use regular butter, spray butter. And just spray the pan on the outside, how like we're doing right now. And then from there, just spray the middle and any other spot that'll take up more room here. Now, that beeping noise that you just heard is that the oven is at the right temperature. You'll need to set that at 400 degrees, which the oven is already preheated, and you won't have to worry about setting it ahead of time. Now, next, you'll need to use a butter knife to do this. Next, take your buns apart and just set them out on the baking pan. Then, you'll need butter, which in this case we don't have any of the any butter in the tubs, which you can also just use regular stick butter, or you can use the same spray butter like I just used on the pan, but not the cooking stuff, because that kind of has an odd taste to it, but it depends on your taste buds too. So what you will do is you'll cut off just a little piece of butter, like how I got like right here. Pick up the top part of your bun, and then just spread it all at the top. Now, sometimes I do like to use a good bit of butter on here, but as I said, it also depends on how you do. Now, which in this case, this butter is actually a different style of butter, which hasn't slightly melted yet, which you kind of see how it's kind of just sticks right there. We're going to switch to a different butter, which don't have to be the spray butter, but if you have butter in a squirt bottle, kind of like this style, just take the top off, rip off the seal. It's here at the top. There we go. And just throw that seal away. We'll just put the top back on. And then from there, give it a good shake. Yeah, just put that, squeeze a good bit of it on there. On all 4 slices of bread. And then once you're done, just put the cap back on, and then just put it in the fridge. Now, I would also prefer to toast these buns before ahead of time, but we're not going to do that on this go around. But since we've already had the butter already made, a little extra butter won't hurt. Won't hurt. Just use your knife and just spread that on the top, nice and fine, kind of like how you do freshly buttered toast right out of the toaster. See there? Just spread it nice and fine on there. Make sure you do that to all 4 slices. And that's starting to look good. Makes you want to jump into the screen and get yourself a bite of this, huh? Of all this nice buttered toast that's about to become. But unfortunately, this isn't going to become buttered toast. This is going to become a garlic toast. Okay. Now, since we got that spread on thick on there, just take your stick of butter once you're done with it, and then just put it back in the refrigerator. All right, next, you'll need garlic powder for this. Wrong container. Yeah, just make sure you also stay up with your seasonings on here, because you might accidentally pop open a new one and you realize the seal hasn't even been broken on it. So, all right, next, you'll need garlic powder, and make sure you put that on all 4 slices. Get a good bit on there, because you don't want to just put just a little sprinkle on there, or you won't get the good garlic effect out there, off of there. There we go. Now, just close that back up and put that back on the rack. And then next, once you have placed the garlic powder on your bread, then you'll start to spread it out on there and mix it in with the butter. Now, I know we could have used some garlic butter, but unfortunately, garlic butter is kind of hard to come by around where I live, so we have to make do. So, just spread that thick on there, and make sure the garlic gets mixed in with the butter and in on the bread. Nice and thick on there. Okay, and then do the same thing with the other slice. Now, once you are done, you'll take your butter knife that you're already done and just put it in the sink and make sure you wash it off when you're finished. All right, next, since we've already finished buttering the pan and buttering the bread, and also placing the garlic powder and spreading it out on there, next, you'll need to get an oven mitt. Since the oven has already been heated up, you'll open the oven. Now, if you already have something in there, then just slide out the rack like I'm doing right here. Turn it with your oven mitt. Stick it on the one side. Take your pan of garlic bread, place it on the rack of the oven, and then just slide it back in and close the oven. And now, we've already placed the oven at 400 degrees already. Now, for the garlic bread, it won't take as long to cook. I would say at least 8 to 10 minutes on this, but as I said, it also depends on the style of oven that you have. And like if you have a toaster oven, for garlic bread, from what I could see, it would probably take maybe just as long, maybe shorter, but it also depends on the style and the brand of oven that you have, because some ovens will actually get hotter than others. Well, that I've seen as was growing up. Now, we've set it for 10. We have it in here, and now we'll give it 10 minutes to cook, and then we'll be back to see how it turned out.